I'm Karen Q at Patriot Tours NYC, and this is New York City Hall. I'm at City Hall Park, and this is where all of my walking tours begin. And today, if we look around City Hall Park, you can see the top of the World Trade Center, some lovely office buildings from the early 20th century, a regular city street, a little bit more of the park, and something called the Tweed Courthouse, built in the era just after the Civil War. But when we do our walking tours, we have to imagine what this looked like at the time we're talking about. So here, where the City Hall is, would have been an army barracks, home to the King's 16th Regiment of Foot. Across the street on the other side of Broadway, all farms and taverns, and to the north, an area called the Outward, the land out of town, and we would have seen some wooden shacks on rolling hills. Now, when I do the tour, I use a series of original prints to demonstrate what it looked like here. So we're going to leave this spot and walk a little bit further down the Broadway and talk about what we would find there. To the south, we find the Liberty Pole. It's a little bit hard to see, but I think you can see it silhouetted up there against the clouds, a vane that says Liberty with a couple flags on it, a white pole with an iron grid around the bottom, which would have stood next to the barracks, and across from the Liberty Pole, a hot spot for the New York Sons of Liberty, Montaigne's Inn and Tavern. That's our City Hall, also the mayor's office, and again up there you can see the Liberty Pole with the vane on it. And since the 1760s, when the first Liberty Pole was erected here, New Yorkers have been holding protests against our local government. So this is quite an interesting spot, and if we turn around and look across the street, across Broadway, where Montaigne's Tavern was, would have been just inns and farms at that time, with the Hudson River only a couple of blocks away. Now a little bit down there to the south, where you see the Woolworth building, that ornate building with some flags hanging on it, we would have found King's College, and King's College was the only college in New York at that time. It stood right across from the Commons, or today's City Hall Park, and was started by Trinity Church, the Church of England. George Washington chose two men who were students at King's College to serve in his first government, Chief Justice John Jay and Treasury Secretary Alexander Hamilton. And these are just a few stops on the early part of the Revolutionary War tour. So just in the first few minutes of the tour, you'll learn all about this great stuff about Colonial and early New York City. So I hope you'll consider coming out to join me on the Revolutionary War tour of New York, or if you're more interested, maybe the Spy Ring tour, or if you like the Hamilton and Burr thing, well, I have a tour just about Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr as well. Oh, and before I forget, if I get a little closer over here, you can see a building foundation. And for you people interested in the spy story, this was the Bridewell, and this is where American forces captured by the British would have been held in New York during their occupation during the war. So thanks for listening. I'm Karen Q. Join me one day on a walk through beautiful and historic Lower Manhattan.